Hey friends, glad we're back together. If you've ever looked around your space and thought, why is this so hard to keep up with? You're not the only one muttering that while stepping over laundry piles and half-sorted mail. Clutter isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet and sneaky, hiding in that box under the bed labeled just in case, or in the 5 mugs you swear all have sentimental value. And letting go, it's not just about tossing stuff. It's about navigating the guilt, the memories, the what if I need it in 2029 logic we all secretly use. But here's the thing, you don't need to declutter like a minimalist monk or empty your home in a weekend. That's not the goal here. Today, I want to walk you through a few simple ways to handle the harder stuff, the items that tug at your heart or mess with your head. Not to pressure you into purging everything, but to help you feel a little more in control, one decision at a time. So grab a tea or whatever's in the least chipped mug you own, and let's talk about how to make letting go a little less dramatic and a lot more doable. Tip 1. Some things stay not because we love them, but because we feel bad letting them go. There are some boxes we never really open, not because we need what's inside, but because we feel like we shouldn't let them go. Maybe they belong to someone we loved. Maybe we promised we'd take care of their things. And even years later, we're still carrying that promise around like it's carved in stone. But here's the thing. What if they never wanted us to hold on so tightly a few years after my dad passed away? I found myself still holding on to his old jackets. They didn't fit me, I never wore them, and they smelled like the back of a closet. But I kept moving them from one place to another. One day, I paused and thought, if it were me, would I want my daughter to keep this jacket, or would I want her to be free? That simple shift cracked something open. I kept the one he wore every Christmas. I could still picture him in it, smiling with a glass of tea. The rest I gave them away, quietly, gently. And I didn't feel guilty. I felt lighter. Letting go of their things doesn't mean you're letting go of them. It means you're carrying the love, not the clutter. And if you're not sure where to begin, tomorrow's video might help. I'll be sharing any young things to declutter now and you won't miss them. Sometimes we just need a nudge and a list to make that first step easier. But first, let's talk about the pressure to keep everything that reminds us of someone and how choosing just one keepsake can actually feel more meaningful than keeping it all. Tip 2. Keep the best. Sometimes we keep everything from a person, a season, or a memory because it all feels meaningful in some way. But the truth is, when everything is important, nothing really stands out. A few years ago, I had a drawer full of cards and letters from friends, birthdays, random little notes. Some were sweet, some I hadn't looked at in years. One afternoon, I sat down and read through them all, and I chose to keep just 5. The ones that made me laugh, the ones that felt like hugs on paper. The rest I let them go. Now, when I open that drawer, I don't feel overwhelmed, I feel warm. You don't need 20 reminders to hold on to love. You just need 1 or 2 that truly speak to you. Next, let's talk about limits and how giving yourself boundaries can actually bring relief, not restriction. Tip 3. Give it a home, not the whole house. Sometimes we don't realize how much we've kept until it no longer fits where it's supposed to go. One day, it's a small pouch of keepsakes, the next, it's a whole shelf, then half a closet, and suddenly your home starts to feel like a storage unit for the past. Here's what shifted everything for me. I picked one small clear boundary, a single box for personal memories, one shelf for candles and backup toiletries, one drawer for just-in-case tools. I remember standing in front of my hallway cabinet, 3 baskets overflowing with random travel souvenirs and dried-up pens. I told myself 1 basket only. That's the space this stuff gets. The sorting wasn't fast, but once the limit was real, the decisions got easier. Giving yourself a boundary isn't cold, it's kind. It gives your space structure. And honestly, it lets you breathe again. Next, let's talk about the invisible weight we carry when we're not even sure why we're keeping certain things, and how asking one small question can unlock the answer. Tip 4. Name what's hard. Some things feel strangely hard to let go of, not because we love them, not because we use them, but because we don't know why we're still holding on. I've had that moment more times than I can count, standing in front of a shelf, picking up a dusty keepsake or a mug I didn't even like and just putting it back. Not because I wanted to keep it, but because I didn't know what was making it so complicated. What finally helped me was asking one small question: why does this feel hard to toss? Not do I need it, not will I regret it. Just what's underneath this stuck feeling, and the answers were never about the thing itself. It was the story. This was from a time I thought I'd be a different version of myself, or I feel guilty giving away something someone gave me even if I never liked it. Once I named the emotion, the item lost its power. I didn't need to argue with it anymore. I could thank it and let it go. Letting go starts with understanding what's holding you. Not the object, but the emotion wrapped around it. Next, we'll talk about a simple trick I didn't expect to work, but absolutely did, using your phone to say goodbye. Tip 5. Take the photo. There are some things you don't use, don't even look at, but still can't seem to let go of because they remind you of a time, a feeling, or a person you don't want to forget. That tension between memory and mess is so real. What helped me was this: take a photo. One good photo, that's it. I had a faded sweatshirt from my first real job. It was oversized, a little stained, but every time I touched it, I felt 22 again, hopeful, nervous, proud. I didn't want to wear it, but I also didn't want to erase the feeling. So I laid it flat, took a clear photo, and let it go. Now every time that memory shows up, it's not tied to clutter. It's right there, stored neatly on my phone, no hanger required. You don't need to keep the thing to keep the feeling. And once you trust that, it gets easier to release what's just taking up space. Next, we'll talk about what to do when you feel like you have to keep everything just in case, and how to stop that fear from running your home. Tip 6. Just in case isn't a reason we all have them. The things we don't use but can't seem to toss, because what if I need it one day? It sounds harmless. Until you realize those just in case items have filled 3 drawers and 2 corners of the garage. Here's what I started doing. Instead of asking, could this be useful someday? I asked, if I needed this tomorrow, how easy would it be to borrow, buy, or live without it? That question changed everything. I had a curling iron I hadn't touched in 4 years, kept it because maybe I'll need it for a wedding. Truth was, if I ever did, I could borrow one or have my hair done. Keeping it was costing me more space than it was worth. So I donated it. We don't need to be ready for every possible version of the future. We just need space to breathe in the present. Next, let's talk about what happens when we hold on to things because they feel like part of our identity, and how releasing them can feel like growing, not losing. Tip 7. You're not who you were. Sometimes the hardest things to let go of aren't from someone else. They're from a version of yourself that you're no longer living. The paint set you swore you'd learn to use. The stack of unread books that felt like self-improvement. The yoga mat you keep rolling back into the corner. I remember holding on to a dress I hadn't worn in over a decade. It didn't fit anymore, not just in size, but in lifestyle. I kept thinking, but I used to feel so confident in this. And then it hit me. I was holding on to the feeling, not the fabric. Letting go of that dress wasn't sad. It was actually respectful to who I was then and who I am now. Because I don't need to keep old versions of myself hanging in the closet to prove they mattered. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to outgrow things. And you're allowed to make space for the woman you are becoming. Next, let's talk about the clutter that sneaks in through gifts and how to stop feeling obligated to keep what never really belonged to you in the first place. Tip 8. You don't owe a shelf to anyone. Some things enter our homes not because we chose them, but because someone handed them to us with love, with pressure, or with zero warning. A gift we didn't ask for, a souvenir we never liked, a decor item that clashed with everything but came with a smile and This made me think of you. I once kept a giant ceramic vase in my entryway for years because a family friend gave it to me. It wasn't my style. I moved it every time I vacuumed. But I told myself, well, it's from her. I can't just get rid of it. One day I realized I wasn't keeping the vase. I was keeping someone else's expectations. So I let it go. And you know what? Nothing bad happened. No one came asking about it. The only thing that changed was I stopped feeling that little wave of irritation every time I walked past it. You can appreciate the gesture without keeping the item. Love doesn't live on a shelf. It lives in how we treat each other. Next, let's talk about that box of I'll decide later things and how to stop postponing decisions that quietly wear you down. Tip 9. Decide, don't defer. It's never the big stuff that clutters our space the fastest. It's the little I'll deal with it later items that pile up before we even notice. A box of tangled cords, a sweater you're not sure you like anymore, that candle you didn't love but kept, just in case. I used to have what I called the maybe bin. It lived in the hallway closet and held all the things I wasn't ready to decide on. It started as one small container. Then it became 2. Then I stopped opening it altogether. One Saturday, I pulled everything out and told myself no more postponing. For each item, I had to decide, keep, release, or take a photo. That's it. The result wasn't just more space in my closet, it was space in my head. Because making the decision felt like taking back control. Every maybe you hold on to is one more whisper of mental clutter. Say yes. Say no. Just stop saying not yet. Next, we'll talk about a gentle way to say goodbye, one that's less about decluttering and more about closure. Tip 10. Say thank you. Some things are hard to let go of because they once meant something real. They served us, comforted us, even brought joy, but now they just sit there unused, and yet somehow still loaded with emotion. What helped me let go without guilt was the simple shift before parting with something I say thank you. Out loud or in my head, just a moment of acknowledgement. I once donated a purse I used every day in my 20s. It was scuffed, slightly torn at the zipper, but I'd taken it everywhere. It carried resumes, lip balm, spare keys, and more than a few late-night snacks. Before placing it in the donation bag, I held it for a moment and whispered, "Thank you. You really showed up for me." It may sound silly, but that pause made the goodbye feel peaceful instead of painful. Gratitude is quiet closure. It reminds us we're not throwing something away, we're releasing it with kindness. Next, we'll talk about the last tip in this series, something that may sound simple but can change everything when you're stuck asking for help. Tip 11. You don't have to do this alone. Sometimes we're not stuck because we don't know what to do. We're stuck because it's too much to do it by ourselves. The emotions, the decisions, the second guessing, it can get loud and exhausting, especially when it's all happening in your own head. What made a real difference for me? Inviting someone in. A friend who didn't judge, didn't push. She just sat with me while I went through one drawer. She asked things like, "Do you still love this?" Or "Would you miss this if it was gone?" And somehow those gentle questions helped me see things more clearly than I could on my own. Asking for help doesn't mean giving up control. It means giving yourself kindness. You don't have to carry the overwhelm by yourself. And you don't have to declutter everything today. Just one corner, one category, one trusted voice beside you. That's more than enough. I'm really glad you're still here. This kind of work, the quiet, emotional, behind closed doors kind, isn't always easy to stick with. But you did. And that matters. Some decisions are still lingering. That's okay. This isn't about reaching the end of something. It's about beginning to feel lighter, one drawer, one item, one honest moment at a time. If today gave you even one deep breath, one finally that's gone, then you've already made space for something better. Not perfect, not finished, just better. And that's worth everything. We'll keep walking this road together, slowly, kindly, and with more room for the life you actually want to live. If this felt helpful, leave a comment, even just a word. It helps me know what's landing with you. And if you want more videos that bring your energy down in a good way, you know where the subscribe button is.